of Oman television. First, the headlines. The Sultanate of Oman continues its celebrations on the second day of Eid al-Adha. Pilgrims perform the casting of pebbles in a symbolic stoning of the devil ritual in Mina. And 20 Palestinians are killed in Israeli shelling in Gaza, and UN warns of significant deteriorations in the situation in the West Bank. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. On the occasion of Eid al-Adha, the Sultanate of Oman continues its celebrations on the second day. A number of wilayas are witnessing various celebrations, including traditional arts, horse and camel arda, heritage and cultural events, while citizens and residents are keen to visit relatives and family and exchange congratulations and greetings on this happy occasion. Tourist trips to various areas, natural sites, parks, gardens, cultural and commercial centers are also active during these days to relax and enjoy Eid al-Adha holiday. Pilgrims performed today the casting of pebbles in a symbolic stoning of the devil ritual in Mina site in Saudi Arabia on the second day of Tashriq. Many pilgrims can end their pilgrimage today after repeating the stoning ritual for 3 days. They can then move to Mecca to perform the farewell circling of the Kaaba. Military Hajj mission pilgrimage prepares to leave the holy places to return back in the Sultanate of Oman after performing Hajj rituals. It included pilgrims from Sultan's Armed Forces, Royal Guard of Oman, Royal Oman Police, and other security apparatus. The mission also included medical, administrative, and media teams to provide services that help pilgrims to perform Hajj rituals in the best way. During the Hajj days, the mission held a number of religious lectures to shed light on Hajj rituals and their great value in the lives of Muslims. During these blessed days, the pilgrims enjoyed full spiritual feelings, praying to Allah the Almighty to forgive them and to accept their Hajj pilgrimage. Strengthening the economic partnership in various fields between the Sultanate of Oman and the Republic of India was discussed by His Excellency Sayyid Badr bin Hamad Al Busaidi, the Foreign Minister, during a phone call with His Excellency Dr. Jaishankar, the Minister of External Affairs of the Republic of India. The two sides also discussed the positive bilateral relations between the two friendly countries. Around 20 Palestinians were killed and others were injured in the continued Israeli shelling of areas in the central and southern Gaza Strip. The occupation artillery also targeted the southern areas of Tel al-Hawa and Zayun neighborhoods in Gaza City. The clashes continue between the Palestinian resistance and the Israeli occupation forces in the neighborhoods of Rafah. In a related matter, the Palestinian Ministry of Health in Gaza called for urgent and immediate international intervention to allow the entry of humanitarian aid and stop the specter of famine in the Strip. It indicated that about 3,500 children are threatened with death due to malnutrition and the lack of vaccination and nutritional supplements. Meanwhile, Volker Turk, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, said that Israeli airstrikes caused great suffering in the Gaza Strip. Volker Turk also warned of a significant deterioration in the situation in Jerusalem and the West Bank, adding that Israeli forces continue to arbitrarily arrest thousands of Palestinians. The UN official pointed out that the number of civilian deaths in global conflicts rose by 72% last year. Israeli forces intensified their shelling of villages and towns in southern Lebanon. The Israeli army's artillery targeted the outskirts of the towns of Khiyam and Rashaya al-Fakhar, in addition to the outskirts of the town of Sheba, which caused fires to outbreak. The Israeli army's artillery intensified its shelling of the southern villages and towns last night, including the outskirts of the towns of Shehin, Zibqin, Blida, Khiyam, and the Lubena area on the outskirts of Nuqura. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said that more than 20 NATO members will meet the alliance's target of allocating at least 2% of GDP to defense this year, highlighting how allies have raised military spending since Russia seized Crimea from Ukraine in 2014.
This year, 23 allies will spend 2% of GDP or more on defense, which is twice as much as just 4 years ago, and demonstrates that more and more allies are now really stepping up and investing more in our security. We will also make important decisions on Ukraine. I expect NATO to take a lead role in providing security assistance and training, and also that allies will commit more military and financial support to Ukraine.
Russia says Ukraine drone attack sparks fires at oil depots in Rostov region. The Russian Emergencies Ministry said the fire had spread to 5,000 cubic meters and dozens of firefighters were involved in putting out the blaze. The Ukrainian Air Force said its air defense systems had destroyed 10 Russian drones launched overnight to target sites in Zaporizhia and Dnipropetrovsk. Russian President Vladimir Putin is to visit North Korea later today, the Kremlin said. Putin's visit comes after an invitation from North Korea leader Kim Jong-un, where the two sides are expected to discuss strengthening economic and military ties. South Korea expressed concerns that Moscow and Pyongyang are engaging in military cooperation without adhering to relevant UN Security Council resolutions. Media means reported that a number of North Korean soldiers were injured after a mine exploded near the border with South Korea. It added that the North Korean soldiers crossed the border and then retreated after South Korea fired warning shots. For its part, the South Korean Ministry of Defense explained that it is monitoring various activities of the North Korean army on the border, including making the land barren, planting landmines, and installing anti-tank barriers. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. The price of Oman oil rose by $1.06 compared to yesterday's price of $82.31. The price of Oman oil August delivery reached $83.37 per barrel, up by $10.81 compared to the price of May delivery. Oil prices steadied as traders looked for signs of rising summer demand to support prices, even as strong as supply threatened to dampen gains. Brent crude futures fell 16 cents to $84.09 per barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures fell 15 cents to $80.18 per barrel. Both benchmarks jumped about 2% yesterday to end the session at their highest since April. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The Sultanate of Oman continues its celebrations on the second day of Eid al-Adha. Pilgrims performed the casting of pebbles in a symbolic stoning of the devil ritual in Mina. And 20 Palestinians are killed in Israeli shelling in Gaza, and UN warns of significant deterioration in the situation in the West Bank. With that, we come to the end of tonight's bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's good night and Eid Mubarak to you and your loved ones.